guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to be covering part 2 of the story I covered earlier, all about the guy who got divorced, met a gal named Amy, thought everything was great, and ignored all her red flags and stories about her divorce, and then learned the hard way. Where it ended, he and Amy were done, and he found a new chick named Sherry. Things are moving along, and now we're going to start in part 2 here, where you're going to see where things progress with her, and how guess who comes back into his life? Good old Amy. And brings the whole level of being vindictive and spiteful and trying to screw things up because, well, women don't like when they're replaced. And again, this holds a learning story about what happens when you ignore the red flags, ignore where they got divorces and breakups, and of course how vindictive they can be when you replace them, and how this guy here has the last laugh. Now, where we were left off, this guy was meeting that girl Sherry. They got things in common. She's going through a divorce, and things are looking pretty bright because he obviously really likes her. So I continue, it says here, meanwhile, in the last year, Amy had bought her own rock-crawling vehicle and was hanging out with many of my friends. I stayed clear of her and stopped hanging out around those friends. Bros before hoes didn't happen in this case. They preferred the attractive brunette to me, and that told me all I needed to know about their friendship. So Amy, your ex now, started picking up on your old hobbies, hanging out with your old so-called friends, and you realize right then and there, because she's young, she's pretty, she's a piece of ace, they're choosing her. Guys, bros before hoes. But unfortunately, lots of bros will choose the hoes over you. So I bought a new UTV and had planned to go after Thanksgiving to our turkey run in the snow. Sherry was from a cold snow state and had very little interest in being cold. For the entire week, I said, come along, I promise you won't be cold. On Wednesday, she called and said, okay, I'll go. I made sure we had everything she needed to be warm. I knew she was cold, I was sunk. We pulled up my brand new UTV and that none of my many wheeling friends knew about, and everyone was blown away. I warned Sherry, my friends are going to freak out. And they did, and she never had a chance to get out when a good friend I had already warned her and jumped in, and they were gone. That's when one of the guys who was now close to Amy said, hey, you should know she's here. There was a group of about 30 plus people, so I didn't notice, and when Sherry returned, she was white as a ghost. Amy came over. Oh, here we go. Amy wasn't interested before, but now that you got a girl, here comes Amy, and she's showing up to all the shit you like to do as a hobby. He says Amy had no interest at all in this event. It was a 15-plus year annual event that she knew I went to, but yet even during dating, she said, nope, I ain't going snow-wheeling to go play with your friends. Oh, how interesting, but now that you have a girl, now she's showing up to the things that you like to do with this girl. But here she was, this was my first date with Sherry. When she came over, it was cordial. Other than taking my friends, who clearly weren't my friends, nothing bad had happened between us. Sherry and Amy said hi. I told her later that I was in shock because she never came to this event even when she liked me. Amy left and never saw her again, and the rest of the day and evening was a blast as promised. And as promised, Sherry never got cold. She told me she loved it, even though she had never gone wheeling before, and I was right, she never got cold. The following week, I was working from home. I was on my work PC doing things when suddenly there was a knock on the window behind me. I turned around, and I don't know if my face gave it away, but to my horror, standing there at my desk was Amy. Well, look who's back. And she's showing up, and not only she's not coming to the front door and ringing the doorbell, she's coming around the back of the house and knocking on the window. I mean, that's creepy. She was there holding a battery charger, holding it like Carol Merrill on The Price is Right, and it's open for a bid. Only there's no Bob Barker, and I'm trying to be cool, but dumbfounded. Why? She hasn't been to the house in at least 18 months, and we haven't said a word since we broke up, except for 5 days earlier. Why? What do you think? Why? Why do you think she showed up to your snowmobiling event? Competition. Sherry. Word got around. And now she's showing up at your house because of Sherry. She wants to fuck it all up. That's what they do. She doesn't want you, but she doesn't want you to have anybody else. Nobody else can have you. Now, Amy is in sales, selling services to real estate agents who are mostly women. But when I opened the door, there is Amy wearing black patent leather boots, black fishnet stockings, a short gray skirt with a matching gray sweater with a wide patent leather belt around her waist. Now, I've seen her go to work many times, but nothing like that. It was not a work-appropriate outfit by any measure. Fishnet stockings, huh? Yeah, black boots, probably with like fucking 6-inch heels. Yeah, She's trying to seduce you. End of story. She said, I found this in the garage and realized it was yours, so I thought I'd drop it off. Uh-huh. I obviously thanked her, but my spidey senses were on full alert. She said, I heard you remodeled the downstairs. Can I see it? Don't let her in, dude. I said, sure. Smack. Dude, do you not realize what's going on here? So we walked downstairs and I showed her the new room that didn't exist when she owned the house. That was the only reason I let her see it. Maybe I shouldn't have. No, you shouldn't have. But I didn't have a reason to be a jerk as of yet. She was in awe and congratulated me on the room and the new look. I said thanks and said, hey, I have a meeting soon, so I have to get going. I didn't, but I just wanted her gone. She headed to the door first, and when I closed the door, I turned and saw her walking up the stairs, switching her walk, and I literally rolled my eyes. I was right, the outfit, the walk. Yeah, she's trying to seduce you. She's trying to fuck up this relationship you just started with Sherry, or the dating with Sherry. She was hoping to entice me into an afternoon delight, even though she knew I was seeing Sherry. Well, I didn't even have to wait long for that theory to be confirmed. As she walked out the door to the deck, she turned and said, you know, I know you're seeing Sherry, but I don't know where you are in the relationship. So if you're interested, I would still like to be friends with benefits. There it was confirmed. Well, funny she wasn't interested in friends with benefits before Sherry, right? You hadn't heard from her 15 months, you said. But now all of a sudden she's magically back in your life? Come on. Gentlemen, this is what a lot of women do. They don't want you, but nobody else can have you. This has happened to me when I was younger. Breakups with girlfriends, I'd move on, and next thing you know, the chick is back. And guess what? I've done dumbass shit like this guy did here. Except I followed through and got some ass and fucked everything up. I told you guys I used to, I learned a lot in my years from fucking up. That's why I'm good at what I'm doing here, because I fucked up a lot when I was younger. So for you guys out there that fucked up a lot, there is hope, because you learned from it. After 18 months of literally not a single word between us, after she saw I was with someone else, she put the full court press to get me back a third time. I said, well, that's flattering, but I really want to see what happens with Sherry, and away she went. After what I know now, I had been weak and caved. If I had been weak and caved, 1,000% she would have told Sherry that Dave and I slept together to rub it in Sherry's face and ruin our relationship. You bet your ass she would have done that. And if you slept with her, she would have spread the word, rubbed it in her face. You and Sherry would be over and done with. Not that you and Sherry were that serious, but I think Sherry obviously took her time with you for a reason. And the second it was over with you and Sherry, Amy would be gone like a puff of smoke. She doesn't care about you. She just wants to win. We had only had one day at this point, but for Sherry, that would have been the point. We were clearly slowly building something that was long-lasting and not a fling. I know I saw it that way, and I know Sherry did too. Amy tried to roll a grenade between us, and I kicked it away just in time. Very good, my man. Very good. Now I knew one thing. I need to control this narrative because something just wasn't right with Amy. Smart. Very smart. You always have to control the narrative, guys, because if word got out that she was over at your house, Amy could have twisted it all around, Sherry would have overreacted, and that would have been that. So I called Sherry immediately and said, guess who just showed up at my house? I told her everything. I didn't want anything coming back to her that was untruthful for me. I had a hunch it would get worse, and my hunch was right. Very smart for telling her. Despite only one date, Sherry was listening to me. She said, why would she do that? Come on, Sherry's a woman. She has to know why Amy was doing that. I said she saw us on Friday, and clearly she tried to get between us. She's clearly regretting it or simply vindictive. She isn't regretting shit. She's vindictive. Sherry agreed, and for the next couple of months, things between Sherry and I were awesome. We made some great memories together, doing a lot of fun stuff. Oh, I'm sure you did, big boy. Her ex found out about us, and he was blowing his stack. He was bombing her with texts and emails, just on and on. But Sherry let me read all of them. Normally, I think this would be strange, but with our Amy incident, I really appreciate it because Sherry was being upset when I was around and was always tied to a ridiculous groveling email. We had no secrets. The other part that we didn't see coming was I knew about her ex-husband. Turns out that Sherry, her ex, and my ATV buddy were all in the military together. For almost 7 years, I've been ATV riding with my friend, and on many of our long drives in the truck, he told Sherry X stories. Told me what a narcissist he is, he's got ADD, he's verbally abusive. When I asked my friend, I said, "You are friends still?" And he said, "Oh no. He won't talk to me because I got a promotion over him." So here I am listening to Sherry's horrible stories about why she's divorcing, and I already heard about this guy. I knew she was solid. I remember back to Amy divorcing her husband because he wouldn't replace golf with a job that he didn't need, and now I have Sherry, who's divorcing because her ex was abusive, verbally, and not a nice human. So, we've all heard the stories, how it seems like nowadays every gal, when they have a breakup and they tell why, they say, "Oh, he was abusive. Oh, he did this." Well, it sounds like in the Sherry situation, it actually was a bad situation. All Sherry wanted was to be appreciated, loved, and respected. So guys, really listen. Just like cheaters, if she says they drifted apart, you're next. As for Amy, oh, she wasn't done, not by a long shot. Well, I'm going to go back to Sherry saying that she wants to be appreciated, loved, and respected. And you know what? I do believe that at some level, but how many guys have pretty much heard the same thing out of women? And those guys go and do that, and those guys get cheated on for guys that don't show love, appreciation, or respect. So there's the balance. You know, if she's showing love, appreciation, respect for you, all these good qualities, you reciprocate. But you don't overdo it. You don't put her on the pedestal. You don't make her to be out the fucking queen. There's only one queen, and that's Latifah. And it ain't fucking Sherry or Amy or anybody else. Or certainly no Jessicas. So still, you always have to put yourself first. And I think this guy learns the balance here. Anyhow, he says, so I'm also on the board of a nonprofit organization. By March, our black tie fundraiser was coming, and about 2 weeks before the event, the chair started reading off the donors that bought a table of 10 for the event. Imagine my horror when she read Amy's name. Of course. I was like, "Did you just say Amy?" And she says, "Yes. She bought a table of 10. It is not an insignificant amount of money, and the foundation can use it. So there's really nothing I can do about it." She knows how to get to you, man. But boy, I was less than thrilled. What was her plan? Of course I told Sherry, and neither of us was happy. It definitely took the sales out of a fun night out. When the night came, we both decided to ignore her. It's the best thing you can do. Don't give her any fucking attention. Now I thought she would invite a bunch of clients from her work, since I knew her company probably paid the tab. But once again, Amy went to new levels. Every person at her table was one of my former friends, including the former president and his wife of the foundation I was now part of. Are you kidding me? We got through the evening to a point without any interaction. I made damn sure my table was across the room from hers, and I never walked anywhere near it. As the dancing started, Sherry and I danced some, and then she said she had to use the ladies' room. So again, picture this. Off comes Amy with all his former friends to rub things in his face, make things difficult. Vindictive little bitch. I went back to our table, and when Sherry returned, she was not happy. She said Amy came into the bathroom and confronted her. I said, seriously? What did she say? Sherry replied, I can't tell you here and will later. No, I'd be like, no, you can tell me here. Unless Sherry thought you were going to go off and start something. Vindictive little Amy. See, guys? They don't care about you, but you move on. Oh, they're going to try to screw it up for you. Well, that smoked the whole evening. She couldn't have fun over what she wanted to say, and I didn't have fun over what she was going to say. I stayed for as long as I needed for my director duties, and we left. As we were an hour from home, we got into a hotel, so we headed there. Sherry says, so, Amy came into the bathroom as soon as I went in. I said, yeah. And she proceeds to tell me that you know I really like Sherry. She doesn't know her. But you really need to know that Dave was physically abusive to me, and he cheated on me. That's why we broke up. Of course, all her other tricks didn't work, and you rejected her advances at your house. Now here we go, saying that you were abusive and cheated and all those things. And Amy obviously thinks that she's so good at what she does that, you know, how she is, that this girl Sherry would fall for it. He says, we've only been dating 4 months, and now Amy does this. In my head, I'm thinking, how do I convince someone I've only known 4 months that Amy is flat out lying for the simple pleasure of breaking us up? And in a nanosecond, I was so happy I told Sherry about Amy's friends with benefits attempt, so I laughed and said, let me ask you this, Sherry. If I beat you, physically beat you, and also cheat on you, would you hang out with my friends, come to my house in inappropriate clothes, ask to be friends with benefits, pay a lot of money for a table of 9 of my friends, and would you want to stay as far away from me as possible? It's a good thing you told her about that thing when she showed up at your house. She said, I wouldn't want to be anywhere near you, and I said, exactly. She's now tried twice to break us up. She appears out of nowhere 18 months after we broke up, and now she's doing this 4 months after she sees you with me. She's one of those women. I can't have you, so you can't have him either. Exactly. Guys, intermission here. I'm sure there are some dudes watching this right now that this has happened to you. It's happened to me more than once. Remember, it ain't about you. It's about the competition. Don't try to understand women. Women understand women. They hate each other, okay? They hate competition. They hate being replaced. And the second you give in, boom, they're gone. After they've laid waste to a good thing you could have had. Yeah, remember that. And you guys that haven't experienced this yet, remember, you have a breakup, you move on, and all of a sudden your ex is back and it's all sugar and spice and everything nice. Be aware. Anyhow, he says, thankfully, she completely agreed and we had the best evening together. Many women have said, fuck that, I have to believe the girlfriend, but Sherry listened to her gut, not that psycho. Sherry has a lot of very good qualities, my man, and I'm glad you two met and hit it off and took your time. That's the good thing. You both didn't rush into things. Now, as for Amy, it dawned on me much later. She was the wife of an NFL quarterback for a decade. Imagine how hard it was to even meet an NFL quarterback, then she snags him. Now, for many seasons, she had to keep the horde of horrors that all want a piece of the NFL player. That no doubt took tenacity, cunning, and ruthlessness. Clearly, and the reason Amy also got this guy, obviously she was probably ruthless. Amy's a fighter, and she'll do whatever it takes to get what she wants. Well, this time she struck out. Amy has since moved to another northern cold snow state, ironically the same state Sherry grew up in. Sherry and I have been together extremely happy for 11 years. Congratulations, my man. Success is the best revenge. That is awesome. You didn't mention you got married. I hope you didn't get married. We stay all the time together. She's my ride or die. Fortunately, I will never have to use any of the lessons I learned in this situation, but hopefully your divorce guys will pay attention. Pay attention to why she divorced, pay attention to her situation, and listen, and I do mean listen to her words, and don't just go after a hot piece of ass with blinders on. Bro, what you said there, I completely agree with, and by and large, what you said there is going to go in one ear and out the other, because we all know darn well how many guys out there are stubborn as shit and think they know better, and their girl's different, and listen to their dick instead of their brains. Again, I've been that idiot too. As a follow-up here, Sherry did get up on stage months later with that band. Of course, I took her and her mom to see her daughter rock out. The ex-husband of hers somehow found out about it, and he showed up. Minutes later, she's supposed to go up and play her song, The Foo Fighters, and he runs up to her and whispers in her ear, I paid $5 to see this, so don't fuck up. Yep, that's her ex. Sherry nailed it, never made a mistake, and her loser ex, I'm sure, regretted his choices watching her shake her ass in her rocker outfit. In 10 plus years, he never said a word to me, but this August, at their youngest son's Marine boot camp graduation ceremony, while we all stood around to say goodbye and not saying a word all day, he said, you're a good guy, Dave. I said, thanks, congrats on your son being a Marine, you should be proud. The end. So there you go, guys. What do we learn here? Lots of things. Pay attention to the red flags. Pay attention to why she says things didn't work out with her ex, but be aware of the whole he's abusive shit. She made it clear why she broke up with her guy, football player. And I still want to find out who this football player is. And to the dude that sent this in, I won't share with... Sorry, guys, I can't share because they got to keep some privacy here. And I do believe he's telling the truth. She gets a football player. He makes a lot of money, retires. Money's not a problem. Divorces his ass because, God forbid, he's not out getting a job, even though money's no problem. There are women like that. There are women like, you have $10 million? God damn it, you should be busting your ass to make $20 million, then $50, then $100 million. It doesn't matter. They want you on that grind. Now, don't get me wrong. A man who's on the grind, a man who's trying to make something of themselves, is a very attractive quality. But at the end of the day, there are women like her. And not to mention, let's go back to the story of how vindictive she was, how she dropped this guy like that when things weren't going well, and then tried to fuck everything up with his new girl. She wasn't interested in him. She just wanted to, screw things up. And she would have been gone in a heartbeat. So remember these things. But our guy here persevered. Eventually she backed off after 3 attempts. And now he's having a good life with this new girl, Sherry. I think that's awesome. So there are good gals out there. I don't know if he married her. He didn't say that. I'm going to guess no. But sir, I'm glad for you. You earned this. But never forget all the lessons you learned. Never forget the lessons you've learned watching my channel. Because I guarantee you start acting like a lot of these jackasses in these stories, this great thing you got going with Sherry will end real quick. You'll start turning her off, even though she's obviously a good one. But I don't think you will, and I think you're doing well. So good for you. So I hope you have a very good life with her, a good life yourself. Keep pursuing all your interests and hobbies. Have a good time with your kids, and, you should live happily ever after, if that's even possible. And I can't believe I just said that fucking phrase. I should delete that. Fuck it. I'll leave it there. You can all make fun of me for saying that. Alright guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about that. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.